Hey guys, so yes, like I said at the end of my last video, I have now just sat down and watched Dragonflre, which was the final episode of Sylvester McCoy's first season as the Doctor. And it's also the introduction of new companion, Excellent Ace, played by Sophie Aldred. And was the outro for Bonnie Langford, who played the role of Mel. And I have to admit, I've heard people say before that Ace was the forebearer to the companion who would later become Rose, and I could definitely see that, considering unlike with Mel and who came before her, Ace and then later Rose are the people that were like, well, then what's that about? And actually help the Doctor and don't just ask, well, what is it? Like what not Sarah Jane's with, but what Joe Grant and other companions such as that did in the past. I mean, and she was the first actual modern woman to be a companion in the TARDIS. I say companion because she, at the end of the adventure, she takes Mel's place as the companion. And for the story itself, by the way, I forgot to mention in the last video that with McCoy's tenure, they actually have gone back to doing 4-part episodes that they stopped doing after Colin Baker's first episode as the Doctor, his entire tenure as the show, as the Doctor, except for if you want to count Trial of the Time Lord, but that's a bit different because that's literally an overarching story from the first episode of the season to the final, and you can tell, I can really tell that, especially with this episode, Sylvester McCoy is within his element with this episode. And I have heard that there are people who only prefer his earlier work and then don't like his later work, and there's also people who don't prefer his earlier work and only prefer his later. And by later work I mean his last 2 seasons. And even though I haven't seen any of his later work, even though I do have Remembrance of the Daleks coming, which is the first episode of the next season, and I'm looking forward to it because I've grown my Doctor Who collection within the past couple of weeks, and I want to continue to grow it because I have seen the new Who stuff a bunch, even to the current season. I'm trying to get caught up on old Who, or classic Who, and yeah, this is actually watching these episodes makes me want to go back sooner or later. I don't know when, but soon I'm gonna go back and actually rework my ranking of the Doctors, and I'm debating whether or not I should include Ruth on that, but that's a discussion for another video. Anyways, some of the things I liked about it, well, for one thing, I loved the dynamic between Mel and Ace in this episode, and Mel basically being the Doctor and being taking the duties of the Doctor and getting to know the new companion before the end of the story, and actually she's the one that tells the Doctor basically to have Mel become the new companion, and you've never had that before. Well, I mean, besides Mickey basically saying, I'm gonna travel with you when in Tennant's era of the show. I think the episode was called School Reunion, I believe that was the episode when basically while it's talking, the doctor is talking to Sarah Jane Smith. Mickey goes, well, she said she didn't want to travel with him anymore, and Mickey just goes, but I wanna, and literally that's how he becomes the companion for a while, and that's sort of the same way that Ace essentially becomes the companion at the end of the episode, and for only having now 2 episodes, even though those episodes are 4 episodes apiece, 4 parts apiece, I can definitely see why people love the McCoy era, even though I've only seen 2 stories of his first season. No, I like Colin Baker from the time I first watched Twin Dilemma, all the way, and I've now seen almost his entire season. Well, actually, I have seen his entire season. I'm only missing 2 stories, one of which I will not buy because I have heard the two doctors suck. But I do eventually want to get Attack of the Cybermen, which is the first episode of Colin Baker's first season that follows immediately after Twin Dilemma. But but I'm not talking about that episode. Some of the things I didn't like about this episode, it's tough. I mean, I usually enjoy everything I watch. There's only a few episodes that I don't particularly like, but if I had to say one thing I don't like, I didn't like that Mel and Ace were sidelined, the part of the adventure. I mean, they're both the companions in a sense, and they're basically told, right, just sit there and wait for us men to come back. But you know, thankfully Ace does return it by basically calling him a bilge bag, and I mean, that's the closest thing you can get to saying douchebag on TV censors, and especially for that time period, like, you couldn't say that. Like, I don't think you can't get away with saying douchebag in TV today, especially if it's meant for families, and I sincerely doubt censors on TVs at the time, especially considering Mary Whitehouse was the one who basically had the axe to the show once, like, at the end of McCoy's final season, which, you know, was kind of unfair to say that it was graphic, which, I mean, the earlier episodes of the series, sure. I mean, look at Tom Baker's era for that. Look at a lot of Peter Davidson's era for that. But, I mean, I haven't seen Attack of the Cybermen, but I've heard the Doctor guns down a Cyberman, which, I mean, what else are you supposed to do with a Cyberman? I mean, sure, there's making them see what they've become and basically have them internally combust like that they did with Tenet, but, you know, I'm surprised no one's made the same argument about that. But anyways, that's pretty much all I had to say. Like I said with the last episode, I'm about to watch the commentary, even though I haven't even finished watching the commentary on this yet, but I'm still gonna go watch the commentary for this episode, and then go back and finish the other one. But anyways, enough rambling. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Click like and subscribe if you did, and I will see you when I see you. Bye.